Welcome to the Amazing Authorities Podcast, where game changers, visionaries, and category leaders share how they built their brands, platforms, and global influence. Your host is Mitch Carson, international speaker, media strategist, and creator of the Instant Authority System. If you're ready to learn from those who've done it and want to become the go-to expert in your space, you're in the right place.
Louis Green is here today. I'm in Thailand and Louis is in beautiful San Diego, California. Welcome to the show today, Louis.
Thanks, Mitch. Well, let me just start off by saying I am honored without a doubt. I was listening to some of your podcasts. You're fantastic. I mean, given the fact that you're over 175 episodes in now.
Yep.
So that's huge. You have your book, you're on NBC. Oh man, I'm really the one that should be honored to be even talking to you. So I'm excited for it.
I'm glad
I've been patiently waiting.
Yeah, well, we had a good little pre-chat, which we won't discuss on the air, which is good fun.
Full of laughs.
It's all part of it.
It was wonderful.
Glad you're here. So you're a bi-coastal guy. You go from Florida to San Diego, California, but you're a San Diego native, correct?
Yeah, born and raised in San Diego. Mm-hmm.
All right. And yeah, you sound a lot more San Diego than you do Florida. There's a whole
in between the bros and dudes and the
dude. Yeah. And I mean, you probably surfed at one time, if I'm to speculate, because I'm a former surfer myself from Santa Monica.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I surfed all up the coast and Hawaii at one time. And it was a part of my deal. And I had hair your length and at one time as well. Then,
I could see it.
Oh, dude, I can get right into
with the locks.
Oh, yeah. And I flipped it to one side. So I'm just envious that you still have it. So I lost that.
I mean, at 60 anything, you're doing great, man. You look fantastic.
Thank you. So Louis, you've got humble beginnings. You're now a successful business person in a couple categories. You embraced e-commerce and then your journey. What have you learned along the way?
So I'd say one of the biggest takeaways, if I had to pass away today and just leave something, it would be the fact that never be so far removed from where you've been that you forget what it was to be there.
Stay humble.
And stay humble. Mm-hmm. So I think about that. So I was in foster care. I grew up in foster care. At the age of 13, I actually was adopted. Went into foster care at the age of 10. Went through 11 different foster homes in the matter of 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
So about every other year, went through. There's a little documentary out there. Yes, if viewers want to check it out, I'm sure we could put a link down for them. And so literally when we talk about humble beginnings in San Diego, literally I remember me, my mom, and my little brother laying on the curb, sleeping in downtown San Diego, which is kind of like a really beautiful full picture when you think about I was laying on the curb and now we get to truly change the skyline of San Diego.
Man, that almost brings me to an emotional moment. I mean, yeah, those are humble beginnings. And this is before you went to the foster homes, I presume. When you were with your mom, it was just you, your mom, and your little brother, who's now
little brother Sean.
And is he part of your business today?
He is. Him and my cousin, who we ended up finding him years and years later, biological cousin. Him and my brother became partners in Arbit. And then along the way, I ended up investing into the company and bought in as a partner as well. So the trio, me, my brother, and my cousin Artie.
That's fantastic. And I want to back up because I think people can relate to where you were and where you are today. All right. So you're successful today. All right, great. There are a lot of rags to riches stories. Very few are from lying on a curb and then going through all of these homes. So when you were 18, you became an adult technically,
Mhm.
but you had some trauma there. It had to have. We've all
Mhm.
experienced what we've experienced before we become adult. What did you do at 18?
So, well, we'll start at 13. I was
Okay.
adopted by a single 27-year-old elementary school teacher, Miss Green, which is where Louise Green comes
Ah,
from.
oh, okay.
And so, 18 years old, um, about to graduate, end up coming out of high school, just kind of flip-flop my way through the next year to 2 years. Did a little bit of college. Really, I just went to have fun. I did a bunch of electives. If I ever had to go back to college, let's just say, Mitch, I wouldn't have to do any electives. My PE courses are done.
Okay.
And um, then I really hit my stride when I decided I wanted to do something different. I was like, I need to get out of here and figure out, I need to grow up. And I ended up going into the Navy.
Oh,
So I went into
okay.
the Navy for 6 years at the age of, I think at that point I was 20, about to turn 21 when I went in.
Any regrets, or do you think it was a good learning experience for you?
Such a good learning experience. Um, there's definitely a lot of challenges in it because what you realize for me, what I really gained out of it is that I was looking to find out who I was. And what the military does a great job of doing is they strip out your previous self. So who you think you were, it's all gone. They take you from where you lived, they put you in relocate you in a different place, so you're not associated with your friends and family that you're normally used to being your common self or your old self. And it really allows you to flourish and say, okay, now that I'm not bound by uh, my previous mannerisms or expectations of mannerisms, who do I want to be? And you have the ability to reinvent yourself or find out who you're going to be in that following season. And that was probably one of the biggest takeaways. So I wouldn't say there was regrets in it. There's challenges, but
Mhm.
those challenges definitely I wouldn't call them regrets.
Now, were you able to use your GI Bill for your current business to help buy properties or your first property? Did that help being a serviceman or?
It did. So well, it started even before even having my e-commerce company. So me and my previous wife, we had purchased our first little house. And then from there, we moved and we had our first little baby. So we moved further away into a better neighborhood. We did it again. And then we actually got our third house. And that's kind of how we really progressed in real estate of like understanding the markets.
Mm,
So with those three houses, there's a couple different um, case scenarios where you're allowed to use it multiple times in regards to not having to do your down payment or your house. And it's if you move a certain amount of miles away, and or if in lieu you have life changes. So, example, expanding in family size would a lot from you going from a 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom and needing a fourth bedroom or fifth bedroom or sixth or so on and so forth. Luckily, we had four kids, so a
wow.
total of six of us. So a six-bedroom house didn't sound out of the ordinary for that to be covered.
And that allowed you to scale up.
Hmm. Yep.
And where have you taken your company since? You said you rejoined or circled back to your brother and your cousin, and they were
Hmm.
in partnership, and then you joined them. And then where's
Hmm.
the business gone? How long has that journey been since you went and found your brother again?
So, um, well, we found me and my brother were together through the foster care the whole time, but
Okay.
my cousin came into the picture back a little bit into high school. But we all started doing business together roughly 8 years ago.
Okay.
At that time, it was solely passively for me as a very entry level friends and family investor. And since then, it's grown to Arbit Group itself has grown to over annually almost 250 is projected for the year in real estate
250 million?
in total real estate transactions. That's on net
Okay.
profits or on the books, but just in transactions altogether in the pipeline. And from there, I actually started a real estate investment company. So what we did there is we started Arbit Capital Partners, which is I'm the CEO and founder of the company, and or the partner in the company. And what we do there is we actually raise the capital from that sector, and we deploy it into different real estate projects. Sometimes it will be deployed into Arbit Group's projects, but what this did is it allowed me to have the diversity to place into a bunch of different projects, and then also diversify what we actually put our money into. Good example for anybody out there who likes art. We are art collectors, so the fund actually hosts, or we purchased 9 of Andres Valencia. You can Google the kid; he's world-renowned, famous. Jake Paul has his stuff.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, so he was on the Jake Paul show. He was on the Jimmy Kimmel show. They call him Little Picasso, and he's actually a dear friend of one of my dear friends, which is how we got connected with his artwork. So we have 9 of his pieces. And so we use the art to mitigate the risk by using 25% or up to 25% of the total capital raised to buy art. So if, let's say, we deploy the capital into a project with a developer and the developer flunks or they get stuck on the project and they need additional capital, well, we can take over the project, and without liquidating any of the assets, we can take a loan against the art because it acts exactly like it's an asset. So we'll take a loan
oh,
against the
interesting.
art, which, crazy enough, you're about to get floored. Anybody out there gonna get floored? Blue chip art or art like Andres Valencia's, the annual growth on that is 10.4% annual return. This is historically along all blue chip art,
I had no
10.4%.
idea. I had no
So
idea.
if our fund is a 7-year fund, that means every year we're actually growing steadily at a 7.4% on the art piece, right? And we own 9 of them. They each go for roughly 150 to 250,000 per art piece, right? So we can use that to take loans out if in the case that we need to. Now that's never what we want to do. But it does help mitigate the risk. So let's say
It's a
and that's how we
hedge.
get
It's a
that we're
hedge.
hedging against. Yeah.
I love it.
So
I had no idea about art. I know so little about it. I feel so uncultured. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna say it's super neat. It really is super cool. Like our art was actually uh so Art Basel in Miami.
Uh-huh.
It's actually the third largest art expo in the world. Uh Andres Valencia's art was one of the largest auctioned, and so everything was fully sold out last year.
Okay.
So our artwork is actually featured there too. So it's just really cool. Just I don't know, it's just fun. It makes the whole for investors when you say, hey, just to let you guys know, these artworks that we just purchased to hedge, we're also going to exhibit them at like the Humex, which is a world-renowned art gallery in Mexico. We're
Okay.
gonna have that. And when that goes there, it actually grows in value. It's similar to saying, hey, we're gonna grab the project, this house that's in the slumps of San Diego, and we're gonna put it in Beverly Hill. We're just gonna
Okay.
relocate it. It just by placing it in a different place, it just grows in value. Art's the same way.
I had no idea. Well, that's an education. So you said something I want to bring up for people that are listening
Mhm.
and or watching us. You invest where people can't get hard money loans, possibly, or they
Mhm.
can't get traditional loans.
Mhm.
Instead, you'll take an equity position. Tell us about that because that's a unique way or a special way
Mhm.
for people that may
Mhm.
not have the credit history, or if you see the value in the
Mhm.
investment, that's something that makes your background unique and helpful
Oh,
for people.
so the way we came up with the concept really was doing it ourselves, right? So
Okay.
being developers and going along the process ourselves, the hardest piece to be able to raise capital for, the most challenging is really that inception piece, which is either acquiring the land to do the project, whether or maybe post where it's entitlements, legal, um, architect and engineering. So all those things are really, really expensive. And so what we do is we partner with the developers, especially if they're early on. We really love that. It's almost like angel investing for developers. If
Okay.
you're early on, you need some guidance, you need some help, you get that piece because we're experienced in it. But then also the front end is you get us as an equity partner. So what happens is we'll get through um, architect, engineer, legal, entitlements, and we can repackage that, right? So we'll repackage that as a package, and then since we have the experience, we can take that to private equity, which that's how we get our construction loans, and that way we can truly fully help the developer get the project fully vertical. But what makes it interesting, the only way it works is if you have that initial equity position at the front end to help you in actually creating that type of package. So that makes it super unique. So most people, anytime I've ever told a developer, oh yeah, we invest in equity position, like no way, that's crazy. Like I mean, they now we vet these projects because there's a lot that come in. But if it's a great project and we really trust the sponsor or the developer, it man, it can be a really, really beautiful partnership.
And for your investors, they probably sleep better knowing that you have an equity piece. And I would imagine there's some security in that, knowing that they can sleep at night, that their money isn't just loaned. It's like, hey, I own this. And if they default, we can come in and take care of the situation or manage the situation and turn it profitable.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can take over the project, we can finish a project, we could bring it down to developer into a project. Since we're developers ourselves, we can fully execute the project ourselves. So it's just really utilizing our set skills already and just being able to maximize on those in case of a worst case scenario. We obviously don't want that and we don't bank on that. And it's never favorable. I mean, there is a lot of risk in it, but by mitigating some of that risk, investors really do, you know, you said it right. They sleep better.
Well, and you get to screen people closely. You're experienced in this sector, so you know what you're looking for. And if you can help be big brother for these people who may have a dream, you're bringing that dream into reality where they can't get funded somewhere else. You cover yourself and you're helping them where others won't. And that's a
Yeah.
win-win in the true sense. You're helping people.
Mhm.
Is your heart still this little boy or young man that was on the street? Are you involved with helping? What's your motivation at a core level with Lewis Green? Is it Louise or Lewis?
So it's Luis.
Ah,
I go by Lou,
okay.
and I'll tell you why he goes by Lou. So anytime I would meet, well, when I first started going to these family office events, I'm part of a family office club.
Uh-huh.
And for those that don't know, family office is just it's a it's a group of people that are really like-minded and they manage huge family wealth.
Oh,
So, for example, my one of my dear friends, Rich, he manages a very well-known billionaire. A percentage of his money, he manages it and he deploys it into projects kind of like ours. So that's what family offices are. So, but in the family office space, I would meet people and just like day one, hey, how's it going? My name's Luis Green, and I'm like, oh, Lewis. And I said, no, no, it's Luis,
ah,
like Latin. And they said, but your last name is Green, like white.
right.
And so then I'd explain, well, the reason my last name's Green is because I was adopted when I was 13. And then it became this big intricate story where I just met somebody and they knew I was adopted and it just became funny. So along the way, I started just going by Lou Green because people less red flags, less questions, and Lou is single syllable, made it really simple for people to remember.
Okay.
But people that know me really, really well, they'll always call me Luis.
Ah,
But most 99% of the people call me Lou
so
now.
was your first language Spanish?
It was actually I didn't speak English until the fourth grade, which was also my first grade of school. I didn't go to school until the fourth grade.
Wow. Wow.
Wild. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Mexicano.
Mexicano, soy latino, latino.
Okay.
Y,
Órale.
yeah, y mi mamá es de España, which means my mom's from Spain, y mi
I
papá
know.
es de México. And then my
Okay.
dad's from
Okay.
Mexico.
Got it. Got it. Well, that I was brought up in by I grew up in Los Angeles, so my second language is Spanish, but I would
Oh,
call it almost
yeah.
Mexican Spanish compared to
A little
Spanish from
Spanglish.
Spain. Well, no, I read it and write it quite well. Speaking it, I
Yeah.
haven't. Yes, tengo acento muy gringo, pero lo hablo más o menos.
Y lo
Entiendo
hablas
todo.
bien.
That means I understand everything. For people who are listening, yeah, we just went in a little bit
Yeah,
of a Spanish deal there.
yeah.
But
You
I
speak it
didn't
well.
know. Okay, so you've got the Spanish background. Or so Lou, I thought Lou Green. I was thinking you were
Hmm.
just some white dude. I didn't know. Well, yeah.
And then you get
Well,
a Jesus lookalike comes on the
yeah.
air.
Well, something. I didn't know if I was going to bring you some bread. We were going to have our last supper. Well, whatever works.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
so is that gives you that flexibility so you're able to talk to Spanish speaking investors as well because that's your first language. What do you speak
It is my first
at
language.
home?
We speak English.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting. So as I was going through the foster care system and then going into school, uh, my my goal was obviously to learn English.
Okay.
So I would even say now, as 35-year-old,
Uh-huh.
it's my English is superior to my Spanish now. And all of my Spanish, or most of it, is very conversational Spanish. Um, so business Spanish is very different. We'll give a good example. Let's say
Totally.
that if
Totally.
I said, if I'm in sales and I said, hey, how's it going? Can you okay the paperwork as opposed to saying, can you sign the contract? Like that verbiage is different. So saying it in Spanish, I use what I call the yuck words, which it's not very finesse, it's very direct because that's kind of how conversational Spanish is in business. It's just, can you sign the contract as opposed to
Sure.
can you okay the paperwork? So I would say it definitely is more challenging to try to sell or speak business in Spanish for me than it is in English, but I could definitely fumble my way through it.
Oh, but I had to do a video series with a Mexican veterinary doctor, and her first
Oh.
language was Spanish. And I'm conversational. I mean, I went
Hmm.
and studied, and I lived in Latin America for a bit. But when you get in the
Hmm.
technical language, I was so tongue-tied, and I didn't know body parts on a dog to explain how do you talk about a spleen. I didn't know a spleen from a
Hmm.
liver, and explaining all this in Spanish. And with the dog, I could get by, order food, converse, listen to the
Hmm.
news. But when you get into the specifics, there's a difference between
Hmm.
being fluent and bilingual.
Right. Yeah.
Big difference. And the gap is
Hmm.
wide. And
Hmm.
I realized, oh, I was so limited. And I just had to
Hmm.
halt the recording.
Hmm.
I felt very small at that point.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah, I can see
communicate.
that.
And I thought, man, I got a lot to learn. I am not bilingual. I'm fluent in Spanish with an accent, very proud of my gringo accent, but not bilingual, So you just have to sort of learn that language. So when it applies to business, you better know your language. You better know the
Mm.
terms. I mean, there are a couple, like you mentioned,
Hmm.
investor returns. What kind of
Hmm.
investor returns are people looking at when they invest with your fund?
Yeah, so our internal rate of return, which would be
Mhm.
IRR, which funny enough, I don't know how to say that in Spanish, but
Okay,
nevertheless,
well, hence my
a
point.
Google away, a Google away.
We'll stay with English on that, Lou.
Yeah, yeah. So then our average internal rate of return for our big group has been 37% within the last
Jamie,
15 projects. So it's
wow.
really, really high. But I'd say the reason it's we really are super creative in how we structure our deals. And then secondly, we love assemblage deals. So assemblage is, let's say, for example, we did creative finance and then an assemblage at the same time. So what that means is I'll give you a real world scenario of something that we actually did.
Sure.
So we bought a lot, and in that lot, there was a couple other lots on either side, right? Four to be exact. So what we did is we approached those other homeowners. We gave them a sweet killer deal that they couldn't refuse. And so technically we were able to assemble a lot where now we're going to turn that into a 3-story townhome that's going to have beautiful skyline views of downtown San Diego. It's going to have the airport coming in. It's gorgeous, right? So with some of those, with some of the now the creative piece in it is for some of the sellers, we allowed them to for us not to have to hold the cost on the property. So what they did is they contributed that property as equity into the project. So instead of paying them 1.2 for their property, they invested 1.2 into the project. So now since it's paid off for them, we're able to take that property and we don't have to have the holding costs on it. So that's where you get creative financing.
And the taxes matter too, because they didn't have to pay any tax when they slid it in. So there they looked at,
Mhm.
hey, what's the bottom line here? I think
Mhm.
people overlook the tax ramifications a lot, especially in
Mhm.
California. Oh my gosh.
Mhm. Yeah, and what it does is it also gives them a lot of stability and preparation time.
Mm,
Because if we're to take over it today, well, they would move out today, right? As opposed to we have 18 months or so for entitlement either way. So it allows them an 18-month time frame to really fully prepare and feel comfortable on how they're going to move forward. Sometimes what we'll do is we'll build it in and we'll say, hey, you know what we'll do is we'll afford you this property over here that we own. It's an Airbnb, but we'll let you stay in it for X amount of time just to sweeten up the deal to make it easier for them. Sometimes we had another person that they actually contributed a $4 million piece of property, and in exchange, what they wanted was the penthouse. So they alleviate. I mean, as far as uh, tax friendly options, they literally contributed their land as equity. So there was no true sale, right? Because they were partners in the project at this point. We were going up vertical, 5 stories. They have a penthouse that they're going to exchange their equity. So there'll never be a change of funds, right? So they'll exchange their equity for the 6.4, I think, $1 million penthouse, which technically was 3 penthouses that they took all the walls down and created into a single dwelling unit,
right.
right? So now it's a homestead, and they'll hold it for 3 years, and then they'll sell it as the primary residence. So they'll pretty much cash out. They could put the walls back in or whatever they want to do at that point. But they'll probably cash out at 7 point change on that property without having to pay capital gains on it, which is
Oh,
incredible. I mean, I'm not a
that
tax person. I'm sure they consulted their tax professional, and I don't know how they do it exactly, but I just know that that was his incentive, and I just thought it was really beautiful how, I mean, it really is pretty neat.
no, that's great. And then you also have Airbnbs. You're calling in right now from one of your Airbnbs in San Diego. And has that
Correct.
been a
Yeah.
profitable venture? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Airbnbs, and I think it's
Mhm.
the Marriott Group, or is it
Mhm.
Sheraton that's behind. They've lost money because of Airbnb. So they're doing
They
everything they
have.
can to lobby against it. What do you
Yeah.
see happening in the Airbnb space?
I mean, it's definitely becoming more and more challenging for California residents just in general. But let's say, for example, I think it's very similar to, let's say, um, Uber and taxi cabs. Very
Sure.
traditional. Then there's a disruptor, and this disruptor, obviously, from Uber's perspective, has absolutely annihilated. So which way it's going to go in regards to Airbnbs, I'm not really sure. But for us, really the Airbnbs, we do it just to add cushion to something that's already has a lot of margin on it already. So whether it rents out or doesn't rent out, it doesn't really change really that much for us, but it is a way for us just to get additional capital along that time frame. So we don't really bank on it as far as Arbit Group. We don't bank on having to get that capital, but it is something that's just like a nice cushion that just kind of adds to what we do.
A little bit of cash flow.
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, along the way.
Uh, Louise, I'll say. Well, you got Lou Green here.
Now we're friends. Yeah.
Okay, bud. So I'll just call you Louise. Where can people get in touch with you if they want to be investors and have some great returns, like you talked about, your internal rate of return of 37%? Boy, that's a steak dinner or two.
Oh, maybe three,
Yeah.
So, as far as social media, the only thing I actually have is LinkedIn.
Okay.
So you can find me on LinkedIn, which Lou Green, that's Lou Green like the color, or they can send an email to teams TEAMS at Arbet ARBET partners.com or info@arbetpartners.com as well.
Great.
Or
Well,
honestly, they could probably reach out to you, and if they're in San Diego or Florida, we could just meet up for lunch and make it easy.
there you go. There you go. Well, that's fantastic. Louise, you've been a great guest today. Muchas gracias, amigo. And thank you very much,
Ciao,
my friend.
Mitch. Thank
And
you.
I wish you the best. And if I were back in the U.S., man, I would invest for sure, because I know it's very hard to get 37% return. And
Yeah.
there's nothing more safe than real estate. There's something that's tangible. It's a lot more interesting to me than crypto, which I don't understand.
I agree.
All right.
Well, Mitch, thank you so much for letting me be on the show, and what an honor. Incredible. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Amazing Authorities Podcast. If today's episode inspired you, take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It helps more experts like you rise to the top. For behind-the-scenes access and free resources to boost your authority, head to mitchcarson.com. Until next time, stay amazing.